Alright, so the big day came where I worked my load up. I didn't upload the videos because if you're finding this video or were sent a link to it, it is not on my regular channel, the Cobra 49. It's on Cobra's Precious Metals, which is a channel I put up about a year ago to discuss collecting gold and silver bullion, gold backs, things of that nature. What has happened is my regular channel got suspended for a violation for 7 days, and I want to get this information out. I've been producing a lot of content. I'm backed up with getting it on, so what I'm going to do is put this up here. Hopefully people find it. If you do find it, or if I sent you a link to this, please subscribe to this channel, because I can still do lives, and I may have a live show and discuss things with you guys on this channel, okay, not my other, because I can't do it. Alright, so we're going to go over our Ruger American. This is the discount model in 22250, which is a pretty interesting cartridge. I'm not much into varmint hunting or whatever, never really worked much with them, but I'm going to show you the footage of me out on the range setting up everything. We're using our super duper radar chronograph, the Caldwell thing, which failed, and the software on the phone failed also, and I'll tell you why later. We'll explain that. And also was a disaster. There's an inherent problem with the magazine, okay, which this rifle malfunctioned like crazy. I was basically getting 2 rounds at a time out of the mag. If I put 3 or more in there, I would have all kinds of feeding problems. So let's go check out the range. I'll show you how my setup was. I'll show you some of the failures, and then we'll come back and discuss these problems. We've now reached the testing phase. We have our different cartridges with different charges. We have our Velociradar. We're using a chronograph that uses radar technology controlled by our phone. And this is at 50 yards, the target down there. And we're going to do our test run, collect our chrono data. And this is kind of the drawn out procedure of this. It's just sitting here and popping these rounds down. But I'll set the camera up, show you one phase of it, and then we'll do a review of it later on when I get home and get all the data and crunch the numbers, and we'll look at the targets then. Alright, we're all set and ready. And one thing about all of these rifles, no matter who makes them, Ruger, Mossberg, Savage, whatever, the biggest problem is these plastic magazines are kind of flimsy, and people have a tendency to break them fairly easily, but you can get replacements. Alright. Alright. So we're on. Like I said, this thing's taking a nosedive in there. Yep, this thing, first one, didn't want to feed it, took a nosedive. Now this one, it looks like it only works when you got 2 in the mag. That first one, the magazine may need to be replaced with this. This is going to be a fun little project. Double feeding on me. Alright, first we'll talk about the Caldwell chronograph, this radar, this chirp radar. You know, this $400 some odd dollar, $500 unit. And there was a guy that did, he was a custom rifle builder, and he took like 4 or 5 of these units. He had an older Caldwell, the red one, and he had the Garmin, and he had something else. And he had them all set up to where they were reading him fire a rifle. And I forget which model did it, but he ended up getting some kind of custom thing going 4,000 feet per second. And the old Caldwell and some, they didn't read them. Now what was happening to me is, you've seen the setup. I got it to where I aimed it correctly. Every time I would fire this gun, it would tell me I'm getting a weak reading to rearrange the radar, because it's not picking it up. What it was is the cartridges at 3,500, 3,600 feet per second, the distance at 50 yards with the radar couldn't keep up with it. It didn't see it. It would miss some. It would get some of them. And then the phone software, and this is where, you know, you control it with the phone. You get it to where it puts the bullet, it puts all that stuff in there. The phone software starts screwing up on me. Okay, and really, I only recorded 2 strings. Okay, the 36.5 grain with that bullet, and the 35.5 grain out of all 6, I think it was 6 strings, or 5 maybe, I don't know. So this really, and 2 of them, I was, you know, using the phone app, saving them, and 2 of them kind of blended together. I went on this, now I'll show you. I was just taking the raw data, and I did record a couple of them, because I gave up on the phone. The phone, it just would pop right out of the app. I did get raw data, but it doesn't give you the dope and the drop and all that other stuff, you know, the bullet weight and everything. I just would say string 5, so many shots. I get the velocities, deviation, all that other stuff, but I don't get the added info from the app. So it kind of upset me. A lot of work here, but I went and I gave up on the phone app, but I went and ran another rifle, and those bullets were traveling at 2,600 feet per second, and the unit worked perfectly. Okay, it was only 3 strings, but it picked them all up. It gave solid readings and this and that. The unit can't handle the speed. Alright, so next problem. I've noticed 2 things with this gun. This gun misfeeds like crazy. It did it with the Federal 50 grain ammo. And what happens is, here's the mag. When you load this mag with 4 rounds, the first round goes forward and takes a nosedive. It just jams into the magazine, so you go nowhere. So you take it out, got 3 rounds in there. Now with 3 rounds in there, it'll strip one out of the mag, but then like halfway out, the round behind it pops up and kicks that one up and jams up under the bolt, and you get like a double feed. I was feeding 2. I'd put 2 rounds in at a time and get them to work. Then that starts, so I ended up just single loading the bullets into the rifle, which was a royal pain in the ass. But I did it anyway. So I got through the 30 rounds very difficultly. I recorded a majority of them, and when we review the targets and when we review some velocities and stuff, you'll see what information I got and what I came up with. So to remedy this is, and this is only for the 22-250, be it in the Predator, the Ruger American, whatever, they use this thing. What I believe the problem is see, you can take this and push this down past the lips, like this. Okay, and this I believe is a design flaw. What you're supposed to do, and why they have this big area, is you're supposed to put the cartridge in like this, and this is tricky, and then slide it back like this. And somebody said there's like this should be 15 thousandths smaller, this gap here, and that's what causes the bullets to very easily just pop out, especially under pressure. This gap here is too wide. You shouldn't be able to press the cartridges down like that with the lips. You shouldn't be able to do that. Okay, that's the issue. It should be loaded like I showed you, coming into the front and going down. To remedy this, the best thing, there's people I read on forums, I did the research. They call Ruger, they complain they want a new magazine. Ruger wouldn't give it to them. They make a universal magazine that'll fit in this rifle and the Predator for .308, 6.5, and I think 264 Remington. If you buy that magazine, it's $40. Problem solved. So I ordered one. I told the owner of the gun I'm going to have to spend some money to correct this. He admitted to me that he's really never fired the gun. He was given the gun and he never fired it. And it's just been sitting there, and he kind of asked me, he said the guy had issues with it. And he said he wasn't specific. He won the rifle as a prize for a raffle at a gun club. And he said he tried to fire it and he couldn't do nothing with it. And since he had whatever, $20, $40 into it, he was complaining about his coyote problem. And the guy goes, "Here, take this." And so he admitted to me that he's never fired this gun whatsoever. He just hasn't got around to it, busy at work. I said, okay, that's why I'm making this video, straighten it all out and showing the issues there. So that's how you get rid of that issue. Now the next one we have, which is also curious, and if you noticed, I had real hard problems closing this bolt, either extractor or whatever. So I'll take this empty case, put it in there. Go on. Okay, so now we're coming up, just like we strip one off, and before it goes home, you gotta give it a, you hear that? Pop. That's the extractor snapping over. Okay, the way this bolt is, it picks it up, the cartridge lines up with the round bolt. It's not cut out like Mauser's where it slides up under the extractor. It goes in and you gotta pop it in there. And if you notice, when I was shooting this gun, I had a lot of difficulty in closing that bolt. The first one to get the, the feel, it was almost impossible. So I don't know what the issue is here. Oh yeah. Yeah, you hear it? But I took the extractor out, and it's a simple device. It slides out of the bolt. I don't recommend doing it yourself. It actually come out of there too easy. When I put pressure on it, the whole thing slid out, and the ball bearing and the spring shot out. Luckily I found them. There were some burrs on the slot that the extractor rides on, so I kind of took a small tiny file and tried to dull the sharp edges, and then without destroying the ball, I slid that extractor in that groove it rides in like nothing. Okay, so I cleaned it, and I put a little bit of grease, gun grease, on the ball bearing, and then slid the thing back, and that's what holds it in place. Is there's the ball bearing in the detent. The detent goes up into the detent hole, and I got it to where it kind of closes with a little bit of a snap. So I don't know. Hopefully that fixed it. Hopefully as we shoot it, I don't know how much this gun has been shot. It's sat for a very long time. It could have just got gummy or stuck, but it appears, because that first time, I had and you hear it pop over, so it might have been frozen. But hopefully that's solved. Okay, so now we will go and review the targets, and I'll tell you what load I'm going to use, and then afterwards, maybe this week, I will go out to 100 and 200 yards with that load and see what it does.